In the quiet town of Casper, Wyoming, a senseless tragedy shook the community to its core. On April 7, 2024, 14-year-old Bobby Maher was brutally murdered in a stabbing attack outside a local shopping mall. The shocking crime sent waves of grief and outrage through the small town, leaving everyone searching for answers. As the investigation unfolded, a tangled web of events and motives emerged, revealing a complex case that would test the limits of justice and the community's sense of security. He was only 14 years old, and his crime was trying to protect his girlfriend from two other teenagers who were stalking her and were also after him. This is the twisted case of Bobby Maher, a story of tragedy, investigation, and the pursuit of untampered justice. When Robert Maher and Mary Powers met and fell in love, their feelings for each other blossomed into something they couldn't understand or live without. So they did what everyone expected: get married. Their courtship was beautiful, and their marriage was no different. The joy they felt was indescribably everything they wished for. Although they didn't have it all together financially, they enjoyed every moment spent with each other. This joy quickly grew even more intense when they welcomed their first child. In no time, they welcomed two more baby boys into the family. Charles, Patrick, and Raiden Maher were all wonderful kids, and they made their parents happy. Everyone looked out for each other effortlessly and with love. When the news that the family was expecting another child came, they couldn't hold back their joy. They were convinced that they had a complete squad, a complete family. It was August 25, 2009, and the Mahers welcomed Bobby, who was going to be the last member of the family. Bobby Dean Maher grew up to be an exceptional child. Bobby was the youngest of the four boys, but his characteristics made people doubt this fact. With a spunky personality and thirst for adventure, Bobby quickly grew into a driven young man on a path to great things. He found joy in spending time with his friends and family, sharing laughs, and taking in all that life had to offer. Bobby had nothing close to negativity in him, as he always looked towards spreading more smiles than frowns. People close to him would say that you can't know Bobby and be sad. He was naturally intelligent and athletic, which allowed him to flourish in many things, including his greatest passion, basketball. He wasn't just an ordinary basketball player, as he always stood out. His tenacious nature, skill, and dedication helped push him to be a star and player and a joy to watch on the court. He also had the love and support of his family, and this made him even more determined to chase education, life, and his dreams. His parents referred to him as a promising child, one that no parent would regret having. He was bold and outspoken, and was always on the lookout for someone in need of his help in one way or another. He was handsome, intelligent, and caring. He ticked almost all of life's boxes. Bobby had a girlfriend, with whom he shared almost everything. They were friends, besties, and their very own companions. The two were very close and were always seen together. They were always out on dates and lunch and were very active in each other's lives. With the awareness of both of their parents, the two grew their relationship with commitment, trust, and beautiful future plans, at least to the best teenagers their age could do. People around them who knew them could vouch that what they shared was, in fact, true. They were indeed young, but they understood what being there for each other meant, and that, in a way, their commitment led to the event that happened on April 7th, 2024. That day started like every other in the lives of both Bobby and his girlfriend. Her identity is not allowed to be public, but she sure was the one. During late March and early April, Bobby was staying at a relative's house because of the housing issues his parents had. His father had just moved everyone to the new house they got, but Bobby was yet to go see the place and arrange for his moving in. The plan was for him to go back to his new home in a few days after the total completion of the setup that was going on in their new house. That day, Bobby got a call from his girlfriend, who expressed serious worries about being stalked by two guys, Jareth Plunkett and Dominique Harris. She was at the East Ridge Mall in Casper doing random shopping when she noticed how the two teenagers were following her and her friend. She recognized them and immediately thought of informing her boyfriend. Jareth Plunkett and Dominique Harris are both 15 years old, and they knew Bobby Maher. They also knew that the girl they were stalking in the mall was his girlfriend. The three teenage boys had crossed paths before, the day when Bobby saw Dominique and Jareth trying to dismantle a toilet. He called them freaks and went on his way. Apparently, Dominique and his friend Jareth decided to teach Bobby a lesson because of what he said to them, So they planned and waited for the perfect time to strike. They had both been monitoring Bobby, and when they saw his girlfriend in the mall, they decided they were going to attack. They started following Bobby's girlfriend at close range. It was almost as if they wanted her to know that they were following her, and when she noticed, she called the most dialed number on her phone, Bobby Maher's number, her boyfriend. Immediately, Bobby heard that his girlfriend was in some kind of trouble. He rushed there to protect her. Bobby was brave enough to believe he could single-handedly protect the love of his life. His loyalty wasn't questioned when he rushed to ease the troubled situation. Upon his arrival, he noticed the two boys he had encountered weeks before. He knew they were no good, so he thought of the best way to handle the situation, but unfortunately, it would turn out that he was the only one thinking of a peaceful solution. Bobby continued to assist his girlfriend with the shopping while Jareth and Dominique plotted their evil. They stole a kitchen knife from the mall and went on to wait outside the mall for Bobby, his girlfriend, and her friend. When Bobby and his girlfriend were done shopping, they left the mall with their shopping bags, and just outside, they met a heated confrontation from Jareth and Dominique, who were trying to scare them. Jareth was with a stolen knife, while Dominique joined in the threat game. It would later be found that Bobby, after finding himself in a violent situation, tried to calm his environment by asking the other two teenagers to put the knife down. He told them that it wasn't fair and that it didn't need to get to the point it was already. While Bobby tried to calm the situation down, Jareth and Dominique weren't having it, as they were hell-bent on getting back at him. As everything seemed to get worse, Bobby's girlfriend tried to interfere and also plead, but one of the teenagers asked her a rather disturbing question. He asked if she would like to take his place. His questioning showed he had no interest in stopping, and the fact that security officers weren't around gave them an opportunity to continue their evil act. People gathered, but the scene was so violent that it had to be handled by trained personnel. Bobby wasn't with a weapon, and he was also trying to protect his girlfriend and her friend, so it wasn't too difficult for one of the boys to grab him, kick him, and pin him to the ground while the other continually stabbed him. A bystander captured the whole moment on camera, and from that footage, it is sure that not only did Bobby struggle and later die, but the boys also sent fear into the minds of people passing by. There was enough fear that they could not intervene, and when some people eventually summoned up the courage to, the two teenagers were seen running away, laughing and giggling. After being severely and continually stabbed, Bobby gave up. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic and horrifying, with many attempting to intervene but fearing for their own safety. Mall security and local law enforcement got to the scene and responded promptly, securing the area and providing medical assistance to Bobby. The first paramedics tried all they could, but unfortunately, despite valiant efforts to save him, Bobby succumbed to his injuries, leaving his loved ones and the community in devastation. The investigation into Bobby Maher's tragic death was a meticulous and thorough process led by the Casper Police Department, in collaboration with the Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation. Immediately after the incident, law enforcement officials secured the crime scene and began gathering evidence, including surveillance footage that showed the moment Bobby left the mall with his girlfriend holding their shopping bags. They also collected testimonies, eyewitness statements, and even physical evidence from the scene. Detectives conducted thorough interviews with witnesses, including Bobby's girlfriend, who had been the target of the initial threat, and other mall patrons who had attempted to intervene or had witnessed the altercation. Investigators reviewed security footage from the mall, which showed the confrontation and the fatal stabbing frame by frame to reconstruct the events leading up to the tragedy. The police department worked swiftly to identify and apprehend the suspects. Dominique Harris and Jareth Plunkett, both 15 years old at the time of the crime, and charged them with serious offenses related to the incident. They were charged with conspiracy to commit homicide on the first degree and murder on the first degree. The investigation revealed that the two suspects had a history of disputes with Bobby and his girlfriend, leading to the fatal confrontation. The police department's swift action and meticulous investigation ensured that the suspects were taken into custody and charged with the crime, providing some sense of relief to the community. As the investigation continued in the following weeks, the police department worked to piece together the events leading up to the stabbing, exploring potential motives and interviewing additional witnesses. The detectives also examined the suspects' backgrounds, searching for any prior incidents or warning signs that may have contributed to the tragic event. The Casper Police Department's investigative efforts were praised by the community and the Maher family, who expressed gratitude for the department's dedication to seeking justice for Bobby's tragic death. The thorough investigation ensured that the truth about the incident was revealed and those responsible were held accountable, providing some closure to the community. But that cannot be the end. Why does it have to be Bobby? When the two were arrested, they tried to work their way out of the evil they had done, but eventually things changed, and it became another story entirely. Dominique Harris, one of the two suspects in the Bobby Maher murder case, entered a plea of guilty to a reduced charge of manslaughter, a strategic move that suggests Harris is accepting responsibility for his role in the crime while also acknowledging the complexity of the situation. By pleading guilty, Harris is acknowledging that he was involved in the altercation that led to Maher's death, but he also emphasizes that he did not intend for the situation to escalate to the point of fatal violence. Harris's legal team has emphasized that their client was acting in self-defense and that Maher had been the initial aggressor in the confrontation. However, Harris has also expressed remorse for his actions and has accepted responsibility for his role in the tragedy. The plea of guilty to manslaughter suggests that Harris is seeking to find a middle ground between accepting responsibility and acknowledging the extenuating circumstances that led to the crime. Harris's decision to plead guilty may also be influenced by the prospect of a reduced sentence, as well as a desire to avoid the uncertainty and risk of a trial. As the court considers Harris's plea, the community remains focused on seeking justice for Bobby Maher while also acknowledging the complexity of the case and the need for a fair and impartial outcome. The outcome of Harris's plea has significant implications for the case, and all parties involved are eagerly awaiting the court's decision on sentencing. Meanwhile, Jareth Plunkett, the other suspect in the Bobby Maher murder case, entered a plea of not guilty and not guilty by reason of mental illness or deficiency, a strategic move that suggests his legal team will rely on a defense related to his mental state at the time of the crime. By pleading not guilty, Plunkett is contesting the charges brought against him, asserting that he did not commit the crime or, at the very least, did not intend to harm Maher. The additional plea of not guilty by reason of mental illness or deficiency, however, indicates that Plunkett's legal team may argue that their client was experiencing a mental health crisis or was unable to distinguish right from wrong during the incident, potentially mitigating his culpability. This defense strategy is bolstered by statements from Plunkett's family members, who have come forward to share that he had been exhibiting erratic behavior in the weeks leading up to the incident, including mood swings, paranoia, and disconnection from reality, and had been seeking help from mental health professionals. Plunkett's legal team has requested a comprehensive mental health evaluation to support their client's plea, which may involve a testimony from expert witnesses, a review of medical records, and an analysis of Plunkett's mental state at the time of the crime. As the court considers Plunkett's plea, the community remains vigilant, seeking justice for Bobby Maher. The outcome of Plunkett's plea will have significant implications for the case, and all parties involved are eagerly awaiting the court's decision. Dominique Antonio Richard Harris entered the plea in Natrona County District Court. He walked into the courtroom minutes before the session began in a red jail jumpsuit, handcuffs, and shackles. He glanced briefly at apparent family members sitting in the front row of the courtroom and smiled. Defense attorney Brandon Booth conferred with his client, and Harris appeared engaged, talking and nodding his head before the hearing began. District Court Judge Carrie M. Johnson addressed Harris and read him his rights, then asked if he understood, and he claimed he did. The judge also asked him what grade he had completed in school, and he replied all the way to 9th. She then asked if he had ever been diagnosed with a learning disability, and he said not any that he was aware of. Dominique Harris, who is being tried as an adult, then reads along with his attorney the charges against him, including conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, aggravated battery and assault, and misdemeanor theft. When Judge Johnson asked him how he pleaded, he responded not guilty. Attorney Booth, who was the defense attorney for Harris, told the court that while his client was pleading not guilty, he reserved the right to change the plea to not guilty by reason of mental illness or deficiency based on some information he's uncovered in school records. Court records show that during a police interview after the incident, Harris admitted to holding Maher down but stated that it was to make sure the fight was over. Harris told police he helped Plunkett in the confrontation because he was mad about an incident that happened over spring break at a park in Evansville. Maher had then allegedly asked Plunkett and Harris if they were freaks because he saw them exit a portable bathroom together. The conspiracy to commit first-degree murder charge carries a potential penalty of life in prison. and the aggravated assault and battery charge carries a maximum penalty of not more than 10 years in prison, and a fine of not more than $10,000 or both. The misdemeanor theft charge carries a penalty of not more than 6 months in jail and a $750 fine or both. Plunkett was arraigned on June 21st and pleaded both not guilty and not guilty by reason of mental illness or deficiency to the 4 charges he faces, including first-degree murder. The judge ordered him to undergo a mental exam. The verdict and aftermath of the trial of Dominique Harris and Jareth Plunkett have been highly anticipated by the community, as the 2 suspects face charges related to the tragic murder of Bobby Maher. Dominique Harris has pleaded not guilty to conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, while Jareth Plunkett has pleaded not guilty by reason of mental illness or deficiency, a strategy that may impact the outcome of the trial. The Maher family has stated that they will fight to get justice for Bobby from every party responsible for his killing, a sentiment echoed by the community seeking closure and accountability. The trial is ongoing, with a judge ordering Plunkett to undergo a medical examination to determine his ability to stand trial, a move that may influence the proceedings and raise important questions about mental health and criminal responsibility. Harris has been charged with conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree, felonious aggravated assault and battery, and misdemeanor theft, while Plunkett faces even more serious charges, including murder in the first degree, conspiracy to commit murder, aggravated assault and battery, and theft. As the legal proceedings continue, the community remains vigilant, seeking justice for Bobby Maher and his loved ones. The outcome of the trial will have significant implications for the community, and all eyes are on the court as the verdict is awaited. The funeral of Bobby Maher was held at Highland Park Community Church. The service took place on April 20th, 2024, and was attended by his family, friends, and members of the community. The funeral mass was celebrated by all who knew Bobby and loved him. The service included readings, hymns, and a homily, and was followed by a burial at Hillcrest Cemetery. Bobby Maher's girlfriend delivered a heartfelt and emotional speech at his funeral service. She spoke about their time together, sharing fond memories of their laughter, adventures, and quiet moments. She remembered Bobby's kind and caring nature, his infectious smile, and his unwavering support. She spoke about how Bobby made her feel seen and loved and how he encouraged her to be her best self. She shared stories about their shared passions, their late-night conversations, and their dreams for the future. With tears in her eyes, she expressed her gratitude for the time they had together and the impact Bobby had on her life. She said Bobby was her confidant, her soulmate, and that he was the bravest boy. She still went on to say that Bobby made me feel loved and cherished in ways she never thought possible. Her speech was a poignant tribute to their love and relationship, and it resonated deeply with the mourners. Her words provided comfort and solace to Bobby's family and friends. Bobby Maher's father, Robert Maher, told the Daily Mail about how hard it had been since Bobby passed. With a trembling voice and tears in his eyes, he spoke about the immense pride he had for his son, describing Bobby as a kind, compassionate, and courageous young man. Robert remembered Bobby's childhood, sharing stories about his first steps, his first baseball game, and his first day of school. He spoke about Bobby's love for life, his infectious smile, and his ability to light up a room with his presence. He mentioned how mornings are always a struggle for not just him, but his family and other friends who knew Bobby. He said waking up to the realization that his son was gone is not something anyone would enjoy. Robert expressed his gratitude for the first time they had together, saying, "Bobby was not only my son, but my best friend and my hero." He shared stories about their father-son bonding moments, their laughter, and their adventures. It broke him even more when he remembered that Bobby didn't even get to see the new house he worked so hard to get. With a heavy heart, Robert spoke about the pain of losing his son, saying, "Bobby's passing has left a void in my life that can never be filled." He encouraged those present to cherish their loved ones and to never take life for granted. The tragic loss of Bobby Maher sent shockwaves through the community, leaving family, friends, and acquaintances reeling in grief. The young life that was cut short was remembered and celebrated in a heartfelt funeral service, where loved ones gathered to pay their respects and share stories of Bobby's impact on their lives. The eulogies and speeches delivered at the service painted a picture of a kind, compassionate, and vibrant young man who left an indelible mark on those around him. Bobby wasn't meant to die, and since he did it the way he did, many wondered if it could have been any different. Why didn't anybody stop those teenagers before they could stabilize him the very first time? And even when the argument was going on, why wasn't the security called? The video showed how close the crime scene is to the exit door. Who exactly or what exactly failed Bobby? He was just trying to be there for his girlfriend, who was scared and called for protection. Although it is sad, in the end, Bobby Maher's funeral service was a testament to the power of love, community, and the human spirit. Through the tears of sorrow, the mourners found solace in the memories they shared with Bobby and the legacy he left behind. The speeches and eulogies delivered at the service ensured that Bobby's memory would live on, inspiring others to emulate his kindness, compassion, and joy in life. As the community says goodbye to this bright young soul, they take comfort in the knowledge that Bobby's impact will continue to be felt for years to come. This is a case that should spread more awareness about how dangerous people can be, irrespective of their age. And that brings us to the end of this case, at least for now. Thank you for watching, and also leave a comment on what you think about the 15-year-olds being tried as adults. Is that justice? Would they be found guilty? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in our next video.